Hey guys, so we have Legends video and stuff number 9. It is very early in the morning here. I did actually stay up pretty much the entire night for the Dokkan Now video, and then also for the Legends one. So this is a very busy night. We also received V-Jump leaks. So check out the video that I made over on that stuff over on the channel there. But I do have D-Free with me. Actually, it's been a while since we made a video together because when was the last one we made? I don't even remember. It was probably some news video that we covered together. I don't even remember what it was at this
like
point.
during the 2-year anniversary, man, or something like that. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, though.
Yeah, no problem. So basically what I want to do is go through everything that we see in this video with the news that they talk about, the new developments, new updates, stuff like that. So I guess we'll just skim through this right now. And at the end, I know you guys are all thinking the same thing we're thinking. You're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be super hype. They even teased it in the news, like, oh, we're gonna have something very hype at the end. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I think in the beginning of this video they say it too. Oh, hey, something's coming. Which I will say, that it's easy to apply hindsight to. It's like, oh well, in hindsight, yeah, they shouldn't have done those things. But in hindsight, they typically do have like a whole little countdown or whatever, which they are actually doing right now on the website. They actually updated the official website. For like 40 million downloads, and there's a countdown now with Goku image next to it, so we have a feeling that that's going to be, but whatever, we'll get to that.
So basically the first portion of this video and stuff episode was them talking about like special dialogue, like if you're like a Broly or something fighting a Goku, he says Kakarot and stuff, like fine. I don't know if you have to dedicate half of this entire episode to that, but that's there.
Part of it was cool though, where the Bardock one, where he was like, "Oh, I hope you're like stronger than your younger brother or whatever." To Raditz, whatever he said.
I mean, some of that stuff is interesting. I don't know, like it taking up so much of this is like I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, it felt like it was a really long time.
Yeah. All right, and then we pretty much get into like the new update for November, and I don't know if this was technically the same as last year. Remember last year they had like the quote unquote massive update they dropped, and that was when they first introduced like Zenkai and Red Stars and Co-op, yeah. So
this is like in the same time slot. I'm guessing they're going to shoot for one of these annually.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
It's sort of the same time slot. I mean, the SS4s were tied to that, right? Didn't they come out towards New Year?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, this is pretty much what that is. It's just I doubt it's going to be on the same scale because of all the backlash they got. But basically, how much stuff actually changed at once was just overwhelming. So I don't expect the same scale of like a change, but it's still going to be a really, really big update here. And then the first thing really to talk about is this mission plans thing, and I think this is a good page to look at here. Basically what I'm getting out of this is the way that you want to play the game. It gives you just more freedom to get rewards based off how you want to do it. So like on the left you choose like the path you want to do. So like there's a PvP one down here, like Battle Lovers Plan. So if you choose this one, I assume that means, let's say you really only care about PvP in this game, which is people only play PvP and just don't want to play PvE, which is fine. So the way that they get the rewards is then going to be more tailored towards, playing PvP and winning matches and stuff like that. So they don't really have to leave PvP as often to get these rewards, which I think is cool.
Yeah, if you play other games, I guess a very notable one would be like Grand Cross. This is basically like their version of a Battle Pass or Hawk Pass or Game Pass, whatever like the various pass names there are. If you look at the diagram here on the left, you choose whichever bracket you're going to go into, and it looks like you can unlock pretty much all of them at once, I imagine. I don't know why there would be a restriction on that, but regardless, you select the plan, and then you can see the details, and then as you see the mission requirements, or use 1 energy, use 2, 3 energy, there's the little peak token or whatever there, which as you get those, obviously it's going to fill up the meter at the very top, which will allow you to get the rewards, which are pictured on the right. I'm guessing that P is for premium or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But on the right images there, you can see on the right side the 50 Chrono Crystals versus the 100. You get the free reward or the premium reward. So that's how it's going to work.
Okay.
So it's a cool little system there. It's going to benefit everybody to be able to get bonus CC regardless. But obviously there's going to be a little bit more incentive to actually pick up the pack, which will probably be something, I don't know, cheap, like $7-8. I guess that varies on your dependence of cheap, obviously, but maybe something like that.
Yeah, and then something else to quickly mention as well is we do actually have, I think it's 10-hour maintenance tonight. So
yeah.
I would assume that all this stuff is actually going to be dropping tonight because it says in the news. I think I can actually pull up the.
It's a full game maintenance. It's not just the summon one like we typically have.
Yeah, and it even says here, due to the upgrade of version 2.15.
Yeah.
I assume like all the stuff that we're talking about in this video and stuff episode is going to actually be live in game after the maintenance is over.
Yeah,
so that's cool. Okay, yeah, so that's this. So we can skip through this now. What else we got? So, oh yeah, this is the big one. So we sort of got hints at this. I think they dropped like a teaser in the news. They were like, oh yeah, like Dragon Balls will be spawning less in the beginning of the match or something, or maybe it's like equally distributed for both players or whatever that was.
Yeah, that was like a week ago or whatever though.
Yeah, and then like people were like, okay, cool, that's cool. But it's like, this is honestly, if you were gonna ask me, this warrants not just 2.3. This would warrant a 3.0 update for the battle version, just to based on how big of a change this is.
You know how big this is, like, for me?
Yeah.
Considering I can guess, like, every match, You know how big it is? It's like, oh, like I guessed again. I guess I'll just lose a character.
Yeah. No, it's true. And you know what this does? So basically, if you guys haven't guessed, the first change for Rising Rush is now when you get guessed on your offensive Rising Rush, instead of like the opponent being able to combo you and straight go into a combo, you'll actually go back to neutral footing, which is basically what people have been asking for a long time, and they're doing that now.
For as long as I can remember. Although I will say, there's obviously going to be the pocket of people that are not happy about this change. You can imagine, there's always going to be people that are not happy with everything, but this does take away an avenue that some people might have been depending on to do some damage to some of these more tanky characters. So there's that.
Yeah, and what else in terms of like how this is effective and what this affects directly, like this honestly, it makes Rising Rush a way more like risk-free way of just fighting, because previously there have been a lot of times where you're like, okay, if I Rising Rush and I get guessed, I lose the match.
Yeah. I literally will go out of my way not to use my Rising Rush in some matches just because I'm so like turned off by the fact that if I get guessed, it's going to completely shift the entire tide of the battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
so, like,
towards the end of the match where like you can win with the rush, and it's like, nah, I'm not going to leave that up to RNG.
Yeah, exactly. So in those situations now, it's like, okay, you can just Rising Rush and you won't have to worry about your opponent guessing you and then just killing you because they guessed you. So I guess in that way, it sort of reduces the amount of RNG involved because it's less seesawy, right?
Yeah, which is interesting when you think back to the last update we had for Rush with the way that they changed the way the cards are handled and stuff. It seems like they kind of held off on doing this for a while with the changes that they've given to the game in the battle version. Like, almost like they didn't want to do this.
Well, yeah, because like, keep in mind, Rising Rush has been pretty much the only facet of this game that has never changed, right?
Yeah.
So it's finally time that they actually look at this and change it, and they did. And like, I'm not saying this is going to be some like literal game-breaking update, like change to this one mechanic, but it's enough to warrant like people to be excited about it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then the other big change, like he says right here, the second change will be the ability to change cover more than once. I think if you consider like every change they've ever made to PvP, and even the one we just talked about with the Rising Rush, I think this is probably one of, if not the most impactful change they've ever made, because this is fundamentally changing like the basis of how PvP is played. That's why I said, like, if you're taking a look at the battle system and actually classifying the update, instead of calling it 2.3, just based off this update alone, I would probably call it 3.0 because of how impactful this change is. And I imagine they probably had to do a ton of testing before they actually approved this, because if you think about the game now, compared to when the game came out, there are so many different types of units in this game that interact with cover change in different ways. Like, you have all the special cover change units. Imagine Bojack with this. Right. Yeah.
The new Broly that's going to be announced in like a couple minutes here in the video. Like, there are all those characters like that. Fusion Zamasu. Even teams that are going to get nuts with this, like Future with like Fusion Zamasu, Vegito, like going multiple Fusion Warrior, I guess, if you want to use the purple Vegeta. Like, it's going to be really interesting.
Even like basic card destruction on cover change, like Vados or the Red Kale. Nuts. Like, you're going to be able to just kill people's hands just from cover changing multiple times.
That's crazy. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so like units like that, and you could even bring up units like the yellow Champa, who reduce the cover change time of the allies every time he gets hit. like he was clearly designed with this change in mind, right?
Yeah.
So him with Vados, I mean, they both have interactions with cover change, so I think they were clearly designed with this in mind as well. But I think this is
a really big deal.
Yeah, this is like,
and I think more importantly, this is a big deal because as you get more you get a little better at the game, you can kind of anticipate changes and stuff like that. And if you can bait them into a unfavorable change, they pretty much were just going to lose that character, right? Or at least take like 80% of their health or whatever, especially in the current climate of the game.
Yeah.
Now you're not forced, even if you don't bait them or whatever. But now you're not forced on the defensive to automatically lose a character.
Yeah.
With like the way units are outputting damage, you're not forced to just lose somebody.
Yeah, and
you can maybe take half that damage per character, but still, that's better than losing.
Yeah, I mean that's also like because you're scared of the Rising Rush, right? See, that's why you don't switch. But now it doesn't matter because you can just switch to another character after that. And then we have the story mode. I'm gonna be honest, I sort of wasn't paying attention when they talked about this because I don't
so much either.
I don't really care.
But I will say is when they were going over this, I was looking at that image. I was like, oh hey, there's like 3 Zenkai dudes. The other 2 got to be getting a Zenkai, right?
Yeah.
And then 2 minutes later, we're like, oh yeah, there it is.
I think they actually have a thing in the news about this where they were talking about, okay, well, we're gonna be removing some of the
stages.
The stages, yeah. I think is it? Right here. Adjustments to main story parts 1 to 3. So all these stages, they're basically going to be deleting these. And I haven't actually checked what these stages are, but I assume these are like, okay, fight this Cyberman or fight this like Frieza henchman or whatever.
That should be what this is. It's more or less the fluff that was in the story, just to prolong it. Fight X, Cyberman like you said or whatever. And maybe even some of those like impossible or really tough to do missions like, land 3 hits with this typing, or like stuff like that. Like that's just not feasible when you level your characters. I think stuff like that's going to get changed too.
Yeah. So the length was shortened, and then they're also talking about these like certain Z power missions that you can do to get Z power for certain characters. Like this one, create a sane party by clearing the missions. And so you can actually get Z power for these characters from completing the mission. And what's interesting about this lineup is that this guy's Zenkais, the Vegeta does, and so does Kid Goku. We'll see in a second that this Broly's about to get one. And that basically just leaves this blue first year anniversary Goku as the only one that hasn't gotten one. So it's pretty safe to assume at some point in the near future he's probably going to get one. So.
And they're giving, definitely. They're giving 7-star for free as well.
Yeah. Was it 3,000 Z power, and then
that's pretty big.
3,500 Chrono Crystals. That's actually for literally just doing the story, which you should be doing anyway. Like that's just good.
And they say more. I assume that people are going to be able to get those, even if you cleared those stages, like us, basically.
Yeah, if you're a veteran or you've done those story stages before the update came out, it's probably retroactive and it'll probably count when you log in, probably after the main.
Pretty cool.
Over. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
And then they talked about a bunch of other minor ones, which is basically being able to see, instead of just basically the stages that you can obtain these items from, you can go to the shop as well that you can get them from. Which is good, yeah. And then the last thing we sort of want to talk about, well, second to last thing, is the green Broly Zenkai. At this point in the premiere of this video, I was like kind of like not even caring about this anymore because I saw it was getting towards the end, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for like the big reveal. But
yeah, me too. I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's move on past Broly. Screw him.
Yeah. So okay, here we go. Green Broly's getting a Zenkai, and this is not super out of the blue, because I think with them buffing movies with the metal cooler and the purple Vegeta banner, it was pretty obvious to me that they were going to do at least one movie Zenkai, because we only have one right now in the blue Broly. So what's funny is I guess the only 2 Zenkais we have for the movie's tag are both Broly.
Our Brolys. Yeah. I forgot all about Broly. He just got revamped. And one of the things I talked about in my prediction video is I think they've been slowly but surely sprinkling movies characters, which could be a big deal later on.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
And but regardless of that, movies like they need this. They need this. Like all their units are just decent. They need this.
I think we both know the one thing we want this Broly to do after he gets his Zenkai, right?
Oh, combo on his barrier? You remember how broken we thought he was, man? We were like, oh yeah, he's gonna be so good, and we were like, oh.
Yeah, so just for context, when this guy was first announced as like a new unit back this was before the first year anniversary even. I think it was like
Yeah.
May or whatever. Like he had been announced and we saw his kit, and I think Yellow Bojack had just come out before this guy. And
Yeah.
Yellow Bojack's barrier, you could combo off of that knockback. But for this Broly, we were like, okay, this guy has like a barrier. He gets so many green cards, like his barrier is ridiculous. Like he's going to be absurd. And then he ended up not being able to combo off his barrier, and he was just basically dead on arrival. Like this guy was decent, but he was never really like that level of good.
It changed him so much, man. And like the timing of his blue card too, comboed with like the fact that he can't actually really combo out of the green into anything but the blue. It's just like really weird because his blue has like a prolonged animation like the LF Goku.
Yeah.
The blue one, where it's easy to get out of, and also his barrier is like easy to play around too. You can vanish out of it, right? Doesn't it have like a shockwave or whatever you can vanish.
Yeah, it actually gives you an exclamation point. It's literally exactly what you said with like the blue Namagoku's blue card. It acts the same exact way as that one does.
Yeah, it's like this dude was like he's the biggest example of one of the biggest examples of like on paper versus in game. I think probably the biggest example is probably Super 17 for the record.
yeah.
Super 17 looks so broken pre-release, man.
But I mean, there's some good green units on here. I mean, obviously you have this Metal Cooler who just came out, and then like this combo right here, like actually you could run like a green yellow setup if you wanted to with like Turles.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know.
But see, like that's what I'm talking
is.
about. Like if you look at their cast of characters, it's like, you know, there's a number of them that are pretty recent. The Great Saiyaman, the Turles, the Goku, the Cooler, the Vegeta, but none of them are like that character that's going to carry this team. So they need more options like this. So it's big. The only downside is I don't love that he's green. Like, I mean, obviously he's been in the game longer than the other two, but they have two other green fighters that are way newer.
Yeah.
I think there might have been a better choice. Like, I don't know, maybe like Yellow Pycon. It's an old option. I don't know, right?
I was actually thinking about Yellow Bojack.
Or Yellow Bojack works too,
Yeah.
even though we just got a new Yellow Bojack, but still.
Oh, you mean the amazing full power Bojack EX? Yeah.
Hey, don't sleep on that Z ability, bro.
What about this guy?
Which one? Wait, I don't see you.
Purple Broly.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to talk about him because we know he's going to get one eventually anyway, and he's going to break the game.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? You could actually do a Bardock squad with both Brolys now because they're both Super Saiyans.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I mean, blue, green is not really an ideal setup, but it'll be fun anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much Broly, and then
He does
that's
bonus damage to Saiyans and hybrids at Max Awakening, so I'm guessing that's Z6.
Z6. Yeah, he's probably gonna get some boost there. But I mean, this guy's still to this day, like if you cover change with him, he has a pretty good amount of defenses. Plus, he also has the special cover change with the knockback on strike,
Which is going to be good in this upcoming update. Yeah.
Yeah, all those characters are getting buffed, so well, indirectly buffed from the battle system changes. And at this point in watching the premiere, because I was watching it with like the 5-9 guys, and like we were like, okay, here we go, and that was the end. Yeah, we're like, yeah, right. And then like, and then this guy is like, oh, finally, we know you've been waiting for this. Yeah, thanks. And then we get to the end, and here we go. They literally like they took the time to actually create this, fully knowing that they weren't going to show us anything. Like,
dude, this is the biggest load of BS ever.
They even had
the little trailer here. Look at that, looking all cool.
Well, because
and then it's
because okay, this trailer was like exactly what they did with the Super Saiyan 4 last year. Remember this same theme? Like they had like this thing going like this. This is literally what they did for the Super Saiyan 4. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is like what they always do before a super hype reveal, right? And then we get this, and this is literally the end of the stream.
You know how bad I was on my stream, man. Oh my god. I typically don't like use any profanity on the channel. But I was like, I broke out of that. I was like, nah, bro, this is some, I can't believe they did that. Like I said in the beginning, like obviously hindsight is a thing. And maybe we should have thought they were gonna do like a countdown thing. But still, they hyped this up.
Yeah.
Only to say it come back later on the 26th at 4 a.m. again.
I mean, honestly, looking back at it, we probably should have anticipated something like this because we knew their schedule is new banner, Zenkai, every week.
See, like we literally talked about this yesterday. We were like, oh yeah, it's probably going to be a Zenkai this week. We were talking about that in DMs.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that is actually what's happening. But when we saw the announcement for the thing,
the maintenance,
it was like, oh, maybe they are doing this tonight. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But they're doing a Zenkai as expected, and then the following week, it's going to be whatever this is, but like they wanted to make sure they teased it, and they did say Legends Festival or whatever that is. So I guess that's a new banner type.
Yeah, right before Legends Festival starts. Well, it might be a new banner type. It might just be what they're calling the celebration, because I think you mentioned the website.
Yeah, it is a celebration. The 40 million downloads or whatever.
I guess technically what the celebration is for it is the Black Friday quote unquote banner, but I think the main what they're trying to like headline this celebration as is like the 40 million download celebration.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out in 9 days. I'm very excited.
Which means that this same day, right? Isn't that the same day that the character should go live?
Yeah, I assume so. I mean, that literally is Black Friday, right?
Yeah. That's actually Thanksgiving, but yeah.
Oh, great. Great timing. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, there's a million different things we can talk about here in terms of who's coming, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that I think they even said, they even call it on the Japanese website, because I saw somebody tweeting about this. They literally call it the greatest Legends celebration ever.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, man. They need to stop hyping this, bro.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the fact that they're doing this, tells me that this is going to have to be like something crazy hyped. Like, it's not going to be Jiren. Like,
yeah. Well,
not just Jiren.
No. So, like, somebody like said that to me. I was like, oh yeah, they're doing this. I was like, yeah. So like that basically eliminates anything that's not an A+ popularity character.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something of the highest popularity in the community.
Well, let me just say
UI or
yeah.
whatever.
I was just gonna say it's probably going to be a Saiyan of some sort. It's not just going to be Jiren.
Oh yeah, they also have it next to. You know, the funny thing is there's an image that's floating around. It says 9 days to go. And it has a picture of Goku here.
Yeah.
And he's in his base form. Mm-hmm. And they're basically saying if you count up, it'll end with UI.
Mm.
So basically doing the Dokkan thing where,
yep.
you know, sequentially daily they change, right? I'm going to send it to you here, so maybe you can pop it in the video. I don't know if you can, but yeah, that's basically what they're saying. So that's probably what's going to wind up happening. But even if it's not him specifically, again, it's something A+ popularity. Like, it's not another Vegito Blue again, I hope.
Yeah,
but
here
it could be something. Yeah, it could be something.
Reveals and stuff, Legends Festival.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then they talk about, like, oh, what is it? And it's basically going to be another video and stuff, but it's going to be like what they did for the anniversary. So this is literally anniversary level hype that we're about to see from this.
Yeah.
Which is
and like I said, they tried to do something similar last year, though, with the big update.
Yeah.
They tried to push it as being basically their next big thing. And the time slot for this stuff is interesting because it's right on Black Friday, and last year it was right for like New Year's or whatever. So it's going to be something hype because, again, last year they had SS4s, and there's going to be people that think SS4s are more hype than whatever we're going to get here, but I don't think that. I think this year they're going to be a step higher in terms of popularity.
Well, remember last year, the Super Saiyan 4s, like, people were not expecting them at all, and they didn't even do like a countdown or anything. They're just like, oh yeah, by the way, Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta are coming. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. It wasn't it one at a time? Wasn't like Vegeta's video and then like we saw Goku in it or something like that?
Well, first it was Goku, and then people were like, oh my god, they're doing Super Saiyan 4 Goku.
Oh, they did Baby. Baby was in the video.
Yeah, well, Baby was first, and then it was Goku, and we thought it was just going to be Baby and Goku. And then they revealed Vegeta, and we're like, okay, like.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So,
but that was without a countdown, and this year we do. So, just saying.
yeah. And like I said, if you actually, I haven't done this personally, but if you actually do count it up and it works out that way, then that's probably what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just for the record. Especially if you tune in tomorrow and it says 8 days to go, and he's like in whatever form he's in.
Especially because we now know V-Jump is Topo and Dispo, and they've been specifically buffing Rival Universe and Universe Survival Saga.
That's one thing I said on Twitter. I was like, did you guys know that Rival Universe is like came out of nowhere?
Yeah.
it's a brand new tag. Like, real.
Yeah. Not only that, they're specifically buffing like powerful opponent constantly now too.
Yeah, and they just gave them their first double buffers. And you got to think about it. If it is Jiren UI, like pretty much all of us think it is.
Yep.
Because it can't be just Jiren at this point. It's not just Jiren. If it was just Jiren, it's not just Jiren anymore. That's not a possibility.
No. It's not.
Because of the hype here.
Yep.
But when it comes to him, like, he wouldn't have had anything because he's probably not getting God Key because it was never said technically that he uses it. Dokkan kind of does something a little bit differently with the Realm of Gods, but whatever. But like they gave him Universe Survival Saga, which didn't have anything. They had no buffers. They do. They also now have Powerful Opponent in Rival Universe. This is all Jiren. It's screaming Jiren. It screams Jiren.
Yeah, it does. And then obviously we know who pairs alongside Jiren, so.
Yeah, and also the V jump thing just confirms it.
It does, yeah. I mean, if it's okay, let me just say it this way: if it's not UI Omen and Jiren, I will be flabbergasted.
Yeah. I think I'll be the same, man. But what I will say is, since we're talking about the V jump, there are people you want to talk about it probably a little bit here. There are people that are saying that since it's the V jump that's being announced in, that's not what we're getting right here, because typically you have to wait a few weeks for V jump stuff.
Yes, but we also, if you remember last year, they did reveal the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta in V jump, and they were like way like late on that, because at that point they'd already come out in game.
Yeah,
so,
see, and that's what I wanted to say too. Is like it's not a for sure. Oh, well, it's V jump, it's Legends All Star or Universe, not Universe, but Ultra Space Time or whatever.
Yeah,
you have to wait a few weeks for it. That's not always the case. So I don't think it really matters. But I wanted to say that because people are saying that I saw that.
Also, it just lines up too well with this reveal now. So
yeah.
Okay, I think that is going to pretty much cover everything that we have to talk about for this update. Unless you want to mention anything before we head out.
Nope, we're good. I'm just gonna go to sleep.
I am as well. I'm sleep deprived. This is a big kick in the face to me, honestly. But I guess we'll have to wait 9 more days. So.
Yep. Yeah. Blue buses. Okay.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know down below if you're excited and who your prediction is for the reveal and stuff. Even though we pretty much spelled it out for you anyway.
Yep.
Hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you all in the next one.